Hi, it's your local dragon lady here with another Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon deck profile. The last deck profile I did was back in April, and people have been asking me, hey, do you have another one? Well, yes, I do. Now, there aren't going to be any drastic changes, but I have done some tweaks and it's been quite successful. It's been placing at my locals. So without further ado, let's get the show started. Okay, for your ritual monsters, you need the man himself, 3 Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragons, and still only 1 Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon. I've tried changing this ratio a few times in play testing, but for this ratio still seems to work the best, primarily for the win condition. Yes, you can get him out to put everything in their opposite battle positions, but due to link monsters, that still doesn't happen very often, and I don't really get him executed that often either when people don't play link monsters. So, but as a beat stick that cannot be targeted or destroyed by effects, still a great card. So yes, you can experiment with that if you like. And 2 Incantation Chalice Slime. I did not change this ratio at all. 2 is wonderful. You just reveal itself, ditch it to the grave, and you can search for an incantation from deck to field, and you can just use that system to search your deck again for a monster or ritual magic to put to your hand to get Chaos Max out. We have 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. And of course, as I always say, they're only meant as food to feed the Chaos Max Dragon. You use Chaos Form, Advanced Ritual Art for the tribute. So, and you need the Blue Eyes White Dragon to really take full effect of the Chaos Dragon itself. So yes, now you can tribute summon these guys. It barely ever happens, but yes, these guys are essential. 3 Zaborg, the Mega Monarch. Yes, this play is still alive. He is another win condition. Essentially, all you really do is that once you have your incantation system going, you just tribute summon this guy out, use his effect to target himself, send to the grave, and because he's a level 8, and if you use a light monster for the tribute summon, you can take your opponent's extra deck and take an 8 of maximum, as many as possible, but 8 as a maximum monsters, and send them to the grave. And you get to do the same thing with your deck, but I'll show you which cards that you want to send to the graveyard. 2 Lava Golems. I still use this card. I used to have it at 3, but I reduced it to 2 because where I've been tweaking this deck and removing and adding cards, you want to make room, but I had to keep Lava Golem in there in some shape or form because negate boards is still a big problem. And even though this guy only takes 2 cards, the burn is an added bonus. So yes, you can use a Kaiju, you can use a Raw Sphermo, Lava Golem, anything is really good to get rid of problematic monsters, but Lava Golem so far is my favorite because very rarely does an opponent only have 1 monster out. So yes, you're almost guaranteed to get use out of this somehow. Okay, for Incantation Devi Rituals, I changed my ratio a little bit. I decided to do the safe ratio, which is 2 candles, 2 talismans, 2 pencils, and 2 books. The reason why they call this the safe ratio was when a lot of people are playing a ritual deck for the first time and they're not exactly sure what they should try. 2 of each is often the best way to start things out with, and then you just go from there. Now, I still stand by my original ratio of 3 candles, 3 talismans, 2 pencils, and 1 book. The book is primarily in case you go against a village of the spellcasters, which has happened to me, and this guy saved me because I was able to get him out because he's searchable. But the reason why I changed the ratio for this build is because I've been adding and taking cards out, and I figured that, okay, I'm still going to have 8. It's 1 less incantation I have in other decks. So, like, I had 9, so I removed 1, but swapped that out a little bit. The only downside to this ratio I find is if you happen to open up with 2 of a kind, which has happened. It's not often, but it has happened. I opened up with 2 candles in one hand, and that was very bizarre because, well, that's the only time you're really going to get to use him. So, and it's still a good ratio of light monsters in level 4 or lower. So when you're going to try to do the OTK method with creature swap or mystic box, you can still, you know, normal summon in defense position and swap it out. So you still got good chances to do that. All right, magic. We have 3 chaos forms and 3 advanced ritual art. I was considering reducing it down to 2, but I tried that once and I just missed. I really missed having the 3rd advanced ritual art, but with some changes I made to my side deck, having 3 is more important than ever, and you'll see what I mean now. You'll see what I mean once I get to the side deck. 2, preparation of rites. Now, the primary reason you didn't see this in my previous deck profiles is because I didn't have this card, believe it or not. I did acquire it during April, but I swapped back and forth between this because I didn't. The unfortunate thing with preparation of rites is not searchable. So you really do have to draw into this, and it just wasn't happening. So I still continue to swap in and out of this on occasion, but for the past few weeks I've been using it and it has been paying off. I don't know what it is. Maybe the tournament setting likes this card more than practice settings, but I've been getting more use out of it. Essentially, you need this to search out your Chalice Slime because it is a level 7 or lower, and once that's in your hand, well, you can reveal and get the incantation system going. And of course, if you happen to have a ritual magic card in your grave, well, as an added bonus, you can just take it from your grave into your hand. So it does recycle. So yes, if you are beginning out with any ritual deck and you have a level 7 or lower, like this is a very, very good card. Very good card. But if you don't have it, really don't worry too much about it because I had great success without it anyway. So this is one of those cards that I wanted to try to my deck, but I had to maneuver a few cards around to fit it. 3 Melody Waking Dragons. This is pretty standard at this point. I did do a gag build one time where I did not use it because, hey, you're doing a lot of searching with the Devi Ritual incantations anyway. But no, I mean, it doesn't matter. Any Blue Eyes deck, including Chaos Max, this is so essential, very important. So yeah, you can get it in any rare, well, the common rarity. So it's a very easy card to get. Bingo Machine Go. Yeah, I decided to keep it in, but as I always say though, you don't need it. I mean, it is still fairly expensive. Now the price did go down a bit, but for casual players, it still might be out of your price range, so don't sweat it. I had great success with this deck without this card. The primary reason why I put at least 2 Bingo Machine Goes in is because they serve as great bait for hand traps, especially Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. And this card is more suited for Chaos Max anyway than the traditional Blue Eyes build. This can search out your Chaos Max, Chaos Dragon, Blue Eyes White Dragon, and Chaos Form. And a Blue Eyes Alternate White Dragon if you do wish to put one in here, which I have not for a while, but nothing wrong with adding him in there. Trust me, he's very useful, especially with Melody. But that's the thing, most people who go against Chaos Max see this card, they know something is coming, and the effect is almost too good for them to ignore, which is why this is such great bait for Ash Blossom. But again, if you don't have it, really don't worry about it. You don't actually need it. 2 Pot of Extravagance. 2 because that is all I have. Even if I have 3, I don't know, 2 seems to be working out for me quite well. You're not really utilizing your extra deck. While there are some cards you kind of need for great effects, but for the most part, this card works out really well. There have been occasions where I ended up banishing all the good monsters that I needed for a combo, but that's just luck of the draw, really. After all, it is a card game, you know, it's mostly luck, some skill. And we have 3 creature swaps and 2 Mystic Box. Yes, this play's still alive. This is one of my favorites to do. It's another win condition. Essentially, all you do is have an incantation on your field and you swap it out. You give one to your opponent, and with Chaos Max out, double piercing, it's essentially game. Most of the time what happens is once I get Chaos Max out and I have a face down defense, because they know it's a Devi Ritual, if I just play one of these cards, they scoop because they know it's game. All they gotta do is see one of these cards and that's it. But another strategic benefit to creature swap is multi-purpose. For example, like say if you have an incantation in face down attack position, you can normal summon, you can give it to them, and if you have a Blue Eyes White Dragon, like that's all you have, you can attack for 3,000. Or if you want, just give it to them and just keep it on their field. Because remember, as long as there's an incantation on the field, whichever side it's on, they cannot utilize their extra deck at all. If I have it, I can't use my extra deck, which I don't really need to. I'm not playing with it. But most people, especially in the metagame, do. So if you were to use Mystic Box or Creature Swap to just give them an incantation and just don't attack into it, they gotta find a way to get rid of this card first before they can utilize anything with their extra deck. I mean, they can't link this off, they can't overlay it, they can't use it for synchro, fusion, nothing. They gotta find a way to get rid of this first before they can go to extra deck, which is another, well, almost win condition. Besides zapping their extra deck, you can lock them out, and that's why I love these cards so much, because they have multi-purposes like that. Okay, for the extra deck, we have the main ones. We have 3 Herald of the Arclight, and we have 3 Elder Entity Natis. These 6 are very important with Zabora, because when you send cards to the graveyard, these are the main 6 you want to send. Each time a Herald of the Arclight hits the graveyard, you get to search your deck for a ritual monster or magic card, and for Elder, for each one that hits the graveyard, you get to pop one of your opponent's cards. You can send Psy Flame Lord Omega, because what happens is once this hits the graveyard, you can essentially send this and or another card from the grave to the deck. So you can recycle this with one of these, for example, back to your extra deck. Another good one for the grave would be the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. I want to give a small shout out to Solid Structure for this card, because this completely escaped me. You're not going to summon this at all. But what happens is, once it's in your graveyard, now I know Chaos Max and Chaos cannot be targeted at all, but say on that rare occasion you have a Blue Eyes White Dragon on the field. If that gets targeted, all you gotta do is banish this from the graveyard and your Blue Eyes White Dragon is safe. So that's a neat little thing that has escaped me. I also have Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. The odds of you summoning him is next to nothing, but depending on the situation, if it's late game, you may need him. It's a great stun card. He can attack twice, and he can banish your opponent's monster. I also got Hope Harbinger. It's a generic level overlay to level 8s. And I also have the current Legal Galaxy package. Again, you're almost never ever going to use it, but it can be done with this deck. I also got a Borolo Dragon and a Borolo Savage Dragon. These are just generally good targets for Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries if you happen to use them, but I mostly got them there as well as filler, so that way I can have a full 15 cards in my extra deck to use the Pot Extravagance. Okay, time for the side deck, and of course the side deck can really mean the difference between a win or a loss. So here we go. I have 2 Amorector Pain. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This, oh my goodness, I want to give a shout out again to Solid Structure. Solid Structure brought this card to my attention, and I've been out of the game for so long I didn't really know about it, but this, holy moly, this card is wonderful. It's a ritual, it's level 8, so very little needs to change in the main deck to use this card. I might even reduce this to 1, simply because it's searchable through the incantations. Whereas level 8, all you gotta do is use a advanced ritual art, Tribute to Blue Eyes White Dragon to get him out. And this is a great going first or second card. And let me tell you, I use this at my locals, and it can ruin some decks. So what this card does is once this ritual summoned, your opponent must skip their main phase 1. So they're not going to get a battle phase. They can summon monsters in the main phase too. However, any extra deck monsters except for links, so XC, Synchros, and Fusions, once they're summoned, their effects are negated. They can't do anything. So yeah, this card is insane. I actually went against one deck, a deck that typically goes best going first. So I knew I was going to go second. I'm sorry. Their deck goes best going second, so I knew that I was going to go first. So I removed one Zaborg to put one of these in. Sure enough, I got them at my first turn. My opponent couldn't do anything. They had to skip their main phase 1, and they had no choice but to special summon Link monsters on their main phase 2. And the Link monsters didn't have a lot of effects that really affected me that much. So this is a great going first card if you think you're going to end up going first, because we know with Chaos Max it goes best going second. But you know, that depends on the situation. So this is another option to give you if you happen to go first. 3 Call by the Graves. Really good card. I don't swap out with this one that often anymore because people are using hand traps less and less. But of course, with today's format, hand traps are not the only threat you have. So these cards can be a great out to that. It's a staple for most decks anyway. So yeah, definitely get your hands on it if you can. 2 Twin Twisters and 2 Spiritualisms. Yes, I still love Spiritualism. It's still an underrated card. It's one of those ways to temporarily remove a back row card with almost no restrictions. Right now, the only restriction this has would be Village of the Spellcasters, but this simply cannot be responded to. It cannot be negated by any other card. So if they have something like a Mask of Restrict, for example, you just play this and you can get rid of it, return it to the hand, and go crazy with your Chaos Max, because in many cases with Chaos Max it only takes 1 turn. Twin Twisters is a staple, especially with Mystic Mine on the go now, which I'll admit I do play myself sometimes. It's just essential to get rid of a back row or a field card if it is stopping you from playing anything. 3 Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode. It's another staple these days, especially with the negate boards. It's a good way to pop out 3 of your opponent's monsters. Now I do use Lava Golem primarily for that, but hey, depending what I'm going against, when I side deck, I might remove the Lava Golems in favor of these because link spamming and negate boards, yeah, still prevalent. So yes, if people at your locals do that a lot, this is another staple. And 3 Swords of Concealing Light. Yeah, I'm keeping this sided. I used to main it a couple of times, and depending what you're going against, like again, Thunder Dragons. I don't see them anymore, hardly ever, but this is really great against them, especially once Colossus comes out. But it's where we all know that Chaos Max's real power is in the double piercing, so it doesn't really have to be Thunder Dragons. It could be anything. As long as it's not a Link monster and this can't be negated, their monsters go into face down defense position, and well, you're going to take a huge chunk out of their life points. So, and it's a good way to negate any effects they have that depends on being face up. And that, my dragons, is my July profile of the Chaos Max Dragon. I want to thank you all for your patience because I wanted to make this profile a little while ago, but unfortunately I got a head cold, so I was waiting for my voice to improve. I also want to thank everyone who chats to me on the Facebook page, which I do have. The link is in the description below. People have been contacting me, telling me that they're very grateful for these profiles because they've been out of the game for a long time. They want to come back, but when you see the way the format works these days, it's very intimidating. And the great thing about Chaos Max is it's a very good beginner deck, kind of. I mean, there are combos you can do with it, but it's nothing overly complicated. And like for a casual deck, it is quite strong. It's something that can make people struggle if they don't have an out to Chaos Max. Because remember, he has 4,000 attack. Not a lot of monsters can beat that, and he can't be targeted or destroyed by effects. So for a boss monster, he's very easy to get out, difficult to deal with, and the incantation system runs very smoothly. So if you're like me, if you've been out of the game for a long time but want to get back into it but still be able to stand up to the decks in the current meta, Chaos Max is a good place to start. And if you're not certain, like if this is your first time seeing this video or to my channel and you want to learn how to use the incantation system, be sure to watch my video on how to play Chaos Max Dragon. It has multiple win conditions, so I have a link to that in the description below. But no matter how you play this game or play this deck, just remember to be a good sport, play the game, not the fame. See ya! Thanks for watching! If you like what you see, subscribe and be sure to click on the bell for notifications. You can also check me out on Facebook. The link is in the description below. Happy dueling! Do any of you play Chaos Max? What kind of cards do you use in yours? And I gotta wait because there's a plane going by again! Every time! Never fails. Never fails. I'll try the ending again.